Howdy y'all, and welcome back to I Am a Champion Paralympics Edition. So, even though the events are technically over with, I wanted to get back to you about the last few thoughts that I had from the Paralympics. I still plan on doing probably one more before everything is said and done, but today is a nice day, so I thought I would take advantage of the beauty that is today. So, one thing that really struck me during the Olympics and the Paralympics both was how people dealt with when circumstances are not ideal. So, I know I've already talked about what to do or how to handle when plans change and how champions deal with the concept of plans changing. But on top of just plans completely changing and having to rearrange things like, being disabled and suddenly needing to think about the possibility of Paralympics instead of Olympics, things like that. There's also the very real possibility that every champion faces of conditions not being ideal for the situation. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, during the Olympics in Pyeongchang, they had a lot of issues with wind and snow and temperatures being crazy. One day it would be really, really low, the next day it would be high, and things would be melting, so they had to deal with ice conditions and snow that was not ideal for the kind of events that they were hoping to put on. And really, Winter Olympics are at the mercy of the weather constantly. And this year was definitely no exception. The downhill events, which I stand corrected, they're not actually called downhill events, they're called alpine events, A-L-P-I-N-E, alpine. Downhill is actually a specific category within the alpine discipline. Anyhow, all that to say, most of the alpine skiing events had to be postponed and then all done around the same time instead of nicely spaced out because the wind was so hammering the hills that they intended to use for the alpine events that they just couldn't. It wasn't safe for anyone to be going down that, even with incredible skills that the Olympians had. And it was interesting to watch how a lot of these Olympians dealt with that, and some of them did it by rescheduling, turning down some competitions so that they could do other competitions because they had planned to do like 5 or 6 events during the Olympics, and they just knew they couldn't do all of them back to back to back. They needed their rest, so they rescheduled things. Some of them insisted on going forward and doing the event, and in some cases it was to their betterment. They were able to win whatever it was or to get a higher placement than they expected, and in other cases it was to their downfall because they just weren't able to handle the extreme conditions, or they weren't able to handle everything being so close together. The same was true in a way for the Paralympics, though they didn't have quite the extremes of the weather during the Paralympics that the Olympics had. They definitely had to deal with unexpectedly non-ideal conditions. I mean, when you have disabilities, well, life is not being lived in under ideal conditions. So there's that. But yeah. So what am I trying to say here? I'm sorry. I'm a little bit scattered because I have a horrible headache today. But what I wanted to say in this was something that's been really overwhelming me particularly the last few days, most of my life really though, and that is my life hasn't been lived under what many would call ideal conditions. I am someone who absolutely loves being adventurous and outdoorsy kind of sports and Olympics and Paralympics. I love these kind of things, but God didn't quite give me the body to handle that. Now, am I complaining? Do I think God messed up? No. But sometimes I have been known to ask, like, God, why did you give me this body with these dreams and these, I don't know if you'd call them desires or, whatever it may be, passions. why did you put these two together when they seem like they are like completely at odds with one another? And then it kind of hit me like a brick the other night as I was thinking over that question again. And really, I think the answer is in the question. I know that might sound strange, but I don't think God makes mistakes. That's my personal opinion and what I have also gleaned from the Bible. I don't believe that God makes mistakes, so I don't believe I am one. But if I didn't have this love for these kind of sports and this kind of adventure, mixed with some of these difficulties and disabilities, I wouldn't have this video series. I wouldn't have a lot of the friendships that I do right now in both the disabilities community and outside of the disabilities community. And I certainly, wouldn't be doing this series at the moment. And I have been really getting so much out of this. It's been amazing. And I don't know, maybe my life would be more adventurous. Maybe my life would be cooler or easier. Who knows? If I didn't have these disabilities, that's true. But honestly, if I didn't have all these disabilities, if I wasn't someone with osteogenesis imperfecta type 1 that would make contact or falling sports really dangerous for me to do, then chances are I probably would be disabled now anyways due to some sort of crazy sports injury, because I was kind of a daredevil. I know it doesn't seem like it to most people who know me now, but I mean, I was a major tomboy. I loved doing anything that, was sporty or outdoorsy or adventurous. I loved it. I didn't really like the getting hurt part, but who really loves getting hurt? Well, maybe there are a few people. I didn't. But I'd probably be disabled now anyways. Honestly, if I didn't have a disability that stopped me from hurting myself too much. Because I was kind of that kid. I loved adventure, and I still love adventure, and I still love sports, and particularly playing them, not so much watching them, unless it's Olympics or Paralympics, in which case I totally make an exception. So where does that leave me now? Or where does that leave you? Maybe you're fighting some kind of at odds with your personality and situation in your life that doesn't make that personality possible to come out so much. Maybe it's financially you're not able to afford the kind of sports or whatever it is that you love to do. Who knows what it may be, a disability, finances, life in general, just not putting you in the ideal circumstance to be able to do what you have a passion to do. Sometimes I think that is a stop sign. Like, stop before you hurt yourself. This isn't a safe place. This isn't what you're called to do. And other times, when there are doors that are open to you, maybe it's not a stop sign that we're seeing so much as a yield sign. Yielding to God's plan, opening those doors when they, going through those doors, I guess I should say, that when they're open to you. For me, right now, do I see myself in the Paralympics in the next 4 to 6 years? Summer or winter? Not at the moment. You never know what's going to happen with life, that's true. But let's face it, I'm a weather wimp and I've never strapped on a pair of skis or boards in my life, so I don't really see it happening. But I love the passion that I have for these sports, and I love watching them. I love the people that are able to do these things. And if God opens those doors for me, then awesome. But I don't see it happening right now. Right now, my Olympic moment is being able to do these videos with you and hopefully get back to dancing again and getting back to my music again. Those are my Paralympic moments. Those are my I am a champion moments. Being able to do this, being able to do music again, being able to do art again, that's my medal around my neck someday. I hope. Of course, also sharing my faith, I didn't mean to leave that out because that just seems obvious to me. What is yours? Maybe there's something in your life, and you're not maybe a sports person, and so watching this video, if you stayed on 9, almost 10 minutes, thank you and God bless you. What is your kind of I am a champion thing right now? What is something that you're not sure right now if there is a stop sign or a yield sign in your future? What is something that you're struggling to move forward in? I'd love to hear from you. I'm sorry if this was a little scattered. I have been suffering really bad neck and headaches for the last several days, and just making this video is a huge feat. So I'm sorry I've been really, really talkative. I hope that this uploads okay. And I still have one more video for you if my body enables me. So yeah, thank you for coming along with me on this. Thank you for watching this far. In my book, you're already a champion. If you've been watching this long and you've been keeping up with the whole series, thank you. Thank you for being part of my team. Thank you for being a champion yourself, and go out there and keep on being a champion. Love to hear your thoughts. God bless. Bye for now.